All right, so first question that I'm going to ask is, why do you want to work for our company?
Well, I've been in Utah for almost 9 years, and when I first went to college, I actually was majoring in journalism, and that was my first major. And then I switched to sociology, and the only thing that I think that reason I left was because my structures of sentences or the way that I wrote wasn't to the teacher's satisfaction, so I let it overshadow me at that point, and then I switched my degree. But I always enjoyed interviewing in high school. People. I worked for the school newspaper at Los Alamitos High School in California, and Standard Examiner has always interested me because of what you do and how to get the news out, or what you do when you sell or promote products. And it's probably one of the leading newspapers here in Utah. And you're in Ogden, and I used to work over at the Home Depot, so I used to pass by there all the time. But I have a friend that just got hired there recently, too, in the obituary section. Ciara Hankins.
Oh, yeah, she starts on Wednesday.
Yeah, she worked with me at Bed Bath & Beyond. We used to sit across from each other.
What a small world.
Yeah, she's so sweet and so loving and just dynamic all the way around.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so she even pumped me up with the Standard. I told her I was going to have an interview with Standard Examiner. Oh, Jessica, you're going to love it. Oh. So she pumped me up on it, too.
Awesome. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
So what do you look for in a job? How do you determine which opportunities
what I look for in a job is using my skills. Like if I have, for instance, I have sales skills, I have people skills, I have skills of management. So I'm looking for those particular type of elements in my job, and also the people that I get along with in harmony and right thinking. So it's a combination, and then the pay to match the worthiness of the job that I'm performing. So I really like to come to my work every day and enjoy it, but at the same time getting paid for what I love to do.
Okay. So what does an advertising salesperson have to do to be good at in order to succeed?
What they have to do is really know their product. They have to know how to communicate well with all kinds of, companies out there, the people that they talk to, how to get to the right person to sell the product, whether it's through the secretary or the top of the, leader of the company. They have to be very organized. They have to be very persistent and not take no for an answer. So you're promoting other products, you're networking, you're getting the word out there. So you really have to be excited about what you're promoting also, and to have that enthusiasm with your customers, to have like a win-win situation.
Okay. What makes people want to do business with you?
People want to do business with me because I come from a place of being truthful, honest, and coming from a place of integrity and believing in my product for whatever I'm selling, to the point where I'm professional and I communicate well and I get the job done, and knowing that they have faith in my service, so they will come to Standard Examiner to promote their product.
Okay. What do you think of the business outlook over the next year or two?
The business outlook, I think, is going to be really great because I think more people are starting their own businesses. There are more entrepreneurs out there right now, and the more people that I keep talking to are building their own businesses these days. And I think it's going to be great in the next 2 years as far as the government, where it's going. They're also seeing that entrepreneurship is becoming very popular. Small businesses are thriving, and I think by promoting products and getting them out there and networking, it's going to be dynamic in the next 2 years.
Awesome. Do people have a right to their own opinions?
Mm-hmm. I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, so if a person disagrees with you, do you have a right to change their opinion?
I have a right to first of all, I have a right, to, of course, to listen to them, hear what they're saying, but I also feel like I have a right to tell them what might work for them, with what they haven't listened to or even looked at yet, and give them a different perspective or a different perception of the issue, so that they can see all avenues and all directions before they make their final decision.
Okay. How often do people tell you that you're too intense?
I don't really get people telling me that I'm really intense. More people feel comfortable being around me than telling me that I'm intense. I could play different roles, of course, but I also like to come from a place of compassion and being innovative at the same time, being true to myself and listening to them and allowing them to be who they are.
Okay. To what degree do you strive to be the best at what you do?
To be the best at what I do every day is to just put 100% or more into how I'm, if I'm doing customer service or whatever, how I'm listening to the customer. Am I really giving them the best service? At the end of the call, did I do it in a one-call, fashion instead of them having to call back 3 or 4 times later? So the best thing that I can do is really get the sale, the first time around, instead of having to call them 3 or 4 times to interest them again. So my goal is to get the sale, and be innovative and get it done. I like to see immediate results. That's why I like sales.
So tell me about some times when your efforts have really paid off.
Well, when I was at Blue Shield, I sold senior health care to seniors, and I started out as a telemarketer. I never really did cold calling that much. I did a little bit before that. And the gentleman that hired me loved the sound of my voice. He first interviewed me over the phone, and then when I got into the job, not even knowing that I was even going to make commissions, it just skyrocketed. I went from $200 commissions to making $60,000 a year, and I became a top performer. And the reason most seniors told me this was because you're not a pushy salesperson. I can talk to you like you're my counselor, but at the same time, I know you're selling a product to me. And that's what made all the difference. People would listen to my calls. They see how I am. But what they liked about me, I wasn't that intense, pushy kind of salesperson. And that's what I liked about my skills, is that I didn't come off that way. I can if I need to, but at the same time, I have a different approach.
Okay. How do you feel when a job is unfinished?
I think when a job is unfinished is when a customer has to call back 3 or 4 times because the first telephone call was not communicated well by the other agent. And then if I don't see that it has been done, then I will finish that until it's completed. I will look at the notes and say, this never got done right, and that's when I know it hasn't been finished, because they have to call back 3 or 4 times. And to me, that's not finished, call or whatever you're doing with the customer. It's just like, okay, why would they have to call back 4 or 5 times if it was finished? So, yeah.
Okay.
I don't really like it that way. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. Tell me about the best sale you ever made.
The best sale I ever made was when I was at, again, I could say at Home Depot. And it was really interesting because I was selling appliances. And we had both going on there with tools and appliances. And there was one customer that really stuck out. And she wanted to end the sale with a washing machine. She wanted to cancel it. I went in and investigated what had happened, that they didn't bring the right part. They couldn't fit it through the door. They had to take the door off. So at the end of the call, I finally had everything done right, the proper people to come out and finish the job. We even gave her a discount on the washing machine. So it became a really great sale and a repeat customer after that. So it's a really win-win situation at the end. I turned something that was so upsetting for a customer around to something very positive, and have faith in our company, when I was working for Home Depot.
How do you react to unexpected situations?
I actually like unexpected situations. I'm a very spontaneous person, so I always say expect the unexpected. So I'm able to handle unexpected situations because I am very flexible, and I've been trained to be flexible in a lot of my jobs. So I handle it very calmly and just go with the flow, really. If everything turns, I'll find a way to, make it come out in a positive experience.
Okay. How much do you like convincing people to do what you want them to do?
Well, I had my own business on the side before. I've taught piano lessons, and when I was first starting out in the career, I did something very interesting. I was working in a music store, and one of my landlords had heard me play the piano one day and said, "You'd be really good teaching piano lessons." So someone came into the music store and says, I need to have a teacher for my grandchildren. And I said, because I had teaching skills, I said, well, I teach piano. And I was very convincing, and I got the job. And that was my first student. And I've also been very convincing in other jobs I've had on the side where I've counseled people, where I convince them that, their career or their path, could be so much better than it is right now. So let me give you some tips. And I convinced them that this is the way to go, and it really turned out well for them. So I am very convincing when I want to be.
Okay. How much can you tell about how someone else feels if they don't tell you?
I can tell a lot when people withhold information from me, if there's silence over the phone. I can also read energy over the phone if someone's not going in the right direction with what I'm saying. So I have a very good intuition on that. I've been doing that for 20, 30 years, so I can really tell when someone's really not happy, that they're ready just to drop out of the situation or whatever it is. So I have a very good fine tooth for that.
Okay. So why do you say that?
Well, because for 20, 30 years I did intuitive counseling. I took classes, the quote, call it psychic or whatever, and they found out that I had a real gift. So I started booking parties at $200, for parties. I also did the Neutrogena party for Halloween. I had about 20 to 30 people still hanging outside the door at 1 or 2 in the morning. So I definitely have a gift of intuition.
Okay. How hard do you like to work?
I work really hard when I need to get the job done, but I also want to have fun in what I'm doing also. So I'll work really hard for anything to have a final product be successful. I mean, to have immediate results or results that are going to be positive at the end. But I'll really work hard to get it done, and that's what really inspires me about doing cold calling or telemarketing. I really see the immediate results after the fact when I've been cold calling. I don't know, other people don't like cold calling, but I love it. So it's just who I am.
At what age did you have your first responsible job?
My first responsible job was at 16 when I worked in a library, and I did the Dewey Decimal System, and that was my very first job.
Awesome. Do you learn things rapidly?
Do I love things rapidly? Oh, yeah, I like things.
Learn things.
Oh, yeah, I learn really fast. Yeah, I have accountability, and I pick up systems pretty fast when I'm in a training class. And I really actually learn when I'm actually doing the job. I could sit 5 weeks in a class until I actually get in the job itself. That's when I really learn the most.
Okay. So what things do you or have you learned rapidly?
Oh, piano lessons. I can hear music and play by ear, so I learned that really rapidly when I was started out at 5 years old. All the systems that I've done in all my jobs, I've mastered very fast, through training and on the job. At Home Depot, we had 4 or 5 different systems. At Bed Bath & Beyond, we have 4 or 5 different systems. So I've been really, efficient to master those systems pretty fast.
Okay. Is it easy for you to give orders to people?
I have given orders to people. I was training to be a teacher, so it hasn't been a problem. I taught piano lessons on the side, so I had to teach the students, so I had to give them certain ways to learn. And if I didn't see them learning a certain way, then I would teach them another way. I kind of look at it like giving orders, but it's also about teaching.
Okay. Would you describe yourself as a highly organized person?
I'm pretty much highly organized. I like to see things in their proper places. I like to see things like 1, 2, 3, like on a chart, but not all over the place, because I just feel like scattered thinking is not going to lead you to the right process.
Okay. Tell me about a time in your last or current job where you demonstrated marketing expertise.
I would say, like at Home Depot, for instance, I was always basically selling over the phone or servicing customer services. So I was marketing Home Depot and their tools, whether the customer called in to have their home decorated, I'd be marketing which products were best, for their room, the colors, the paint, Home Depot and what they gave as far as perks, for someone to come in and do a free, assessment of their house. So I was always marketing ideas for Home Depot to get the job done.
Okay. How much do you want others to like you?
I'm not really interested in people wanting to like me. That's not really important to me. I rather be who I am in front of people, and then just, if that's what they see, that's what they get. But at the same time, I always want to be compassionate and courteous with those people too, whoever it is. I'm just not interested in that I have to win anybody over, because I know I'm good at what I do and I have the confidence in myself. I've mastered it.
How effective are you at resolving conflicts?
I'm very good at resolving conflicts. Like I said, I did it at Blue Shield every day on the phone with seniors, where they were just vacillating whether they were going to the senior plan or not, or whether they were going to stay with Medicare or Medi-Cal. I had daughters get on the phone and say, "Why did you sign my mother up for insurance? How could you do this to me?" And at the end of the call, I turned it around, told her all the benefits. I pointed out all the positive things about it. So I'm very good at solving conflict.
Okay. So when you've had a success, what do you do?
What do I do when I have a success? I praise myself, and if I have been rewarded with something financial, whatever, I sometimes treat myself. Sometimes I go out and treat other people. We celebrate. We did that at Blue Shield all the time. Every time we had a success, we would go to a restaurant. We would celebrate our sales success. I actually won a trip at Blue Shield to go to Ensenada for being a top performer, because I was the highest dialer. We had a contest, and I became the highest dialer because I was very fast over the phone, dialing all the time. And I got things done, and I got the most customers.
Okay. How do you feel when you make a mistake?
Well, I like to turn a mistake into, not a mistake, but that I'm going to learn from it. I really don't want to call it a mistake. I just want to call it a process in learning. And I honestly believe there are no failures. We're just in the process of learning all the time.
Okay. Do you have a passion for sales?
Oh, I have a deep passion for sales. I love sales. When I graduated from college, and I took my first sales class at Pierce College right after college, and I just fell in love with, the teacher and what he said about the sky's the limit. And then I went out and got a job. It was advertising specialties for displays for trade shows. I convinced the owner of the company to let me go out in the field with him, and they really saw my dynamic personality after that. And also they put me on the phone, and I did sales. So I really thrive on it. I just love it because I get immediate results.
Okay. How do you measure your success?
I measure my success when I see how the customer is reacting to me in a positive fashion, when I get the sale, of course, but also seeing myself do well in my position, whatever job it is, seeing, the results of the person or whatever being happy on the other side, seeing the harmony in the whole situation, seeing the balance, seeing that it was good on both sides and it wasn't like one-sided.
Okay. So how important is it to play it safe when you're dealing with clients or prospects?
How important is it to play it safe?
Yeah.
I don't really need to play it safe. I think I just put it out there on the table and let them give me their feedback or whatever, and then I just go for the gusto. I go for the sale. I go for what's promoting the product. I just get it done. I mean, I don't feel like I have to play anything safe. I just let it evolve as the process is, where it's taken me, like in a spontaneous fashion. Even though I'm organized in what I'm doing, I still don't feel like I need to play anything safe. I mean, I feel like if I put my communication out there correctly, I don't need to play it safe.
Okay. Do you prefer to reuse an idea you've seen work before, or would you rather rebuild the proposal around a new idea?
Well, I look at like what's been used before as something that's already happened. I would like to entertain something that's new and innovative, to see something more dynamic happen with a situation. However, if something has worked before, I would also utilize that, but I also entertain something new and different to start out with. But if I see that that has not been working, then I may go back to do something that was already in place.
Okay.
So that comes with flexibility. That's like,
Right.
where are we going with this situation?
Right.
Mhm.
Do you love a good debate?
Oh, I love debating. I love, especially, with someone talking in politics or whatever and giving them my opinion and then listening to their story and listening to my, what I think. So you also have to be careful about, listening to their feelings and their opinions and being respectful, because I've been watching the debates on television and I can see how it can get really out of hand, just going way over the top. And then losing the respect of what you're even saying to the next person and really causing the whole thing to downfall and losing the meaning of what you're even talking about in the very beginning. So with a debate, you have to come with a lot of knowledge, whether it's knowing your product or who I am as a person or my belief systems, but also respecting the other person's belief systems. I think that's really important, because everything is about perception in life and perspective.
So
No
how
two
often
people are going to see the same situation.
No,
Pardon me?
you're right. Yep. How often do you find yourself noticing advertisements?
Everywhere. I mean, I'm running down the road in my car and I see something saying like "let go," and I'm saying, is that a sign of letting go of my life? And then I'm reading the rest of the advertisement. I said, now I see why they're putting that in the words. I think words are very innovative. They have action and energy to them. So I'm always looking at advertising as attracting myself to different places, and the way that they do it, with whether it's music or color or sound. And I've seen the ones on television that really radiate to me. Some of these telephone commercials have some really beautiful things about, the world and the peacefulness, and how that product is, radiating to that energy of that product, whether it's a car or whatever. So I definitely look at advertising as getting my business.
So pick one that you've seen in the last couple of days. Let me know what it is, and then kind of tell me, what do you think the advertiser is trying to accomplish with the ad?
Okay, so there is this one about, showing children singing, and it's a recent one, and it's about showing how they can accomplish anything they want in their lives, and it's bringing everybody together, almost like a Michael Jackson "We Are the World" kind of concept.
Hmm.
And what they're displaying is that I could be anything. I could be a teacher. I could be a nurse. I could be a doctor. And so it's going in that direction, how we have to educate our children in a fashion where we can see their strengths and help them get to where they need to get to for education. It's a really beautiful commercial.
Okay. Tell me about some of the ways that you've been involved in the community.
Well, here in Utah, they have this Marshall White Center on Lincoln Street, and I had a chance to participate in one of their benefits to help not just the homeless, but other less fortunate, people who were needing food. So we did a special thing less than a year and a half ago where it was during Halloween, and I was one of the participants from one of my churches to hand out the sloppy joe, the beans or whatever they needed at the time, the potato chips to put on the plates. And it was just such a really gratifying feeling to see so many people in line and so hungry, and even to run out of food, and we have to tell them, I'm sorry, we don't have any more to give you. And then I also work for the Salvation Army giving out Thanksgiving food, and they ended that program recently, and they just have it at one of the restaurants. So it's just a very gratifying feeling when you're doing community work, and I'm always for that myself. It's just a good feeling, and that giving back, because you can always be in their shoes too, which I have been, and so I know how that feels.
Okay. Do you have a sixth sense for knowing how to make another person feel good?
Yes.
Yes,
I've always had that ability. Well, I've always been one of these people that just love to praise people. Like, even if somebody's wearing something colorful that day, say, that's the most beautiful dress you're wearing today, or I really like the color of your hair or your hairstyle. And I just do that all the time at my work. Everybody says, oh, you're the first person that's ever said that to me. Thank you, and it really makes a difference in their lives. But I'm just one of these people that just goes around and looking for the positive in everybody and just giving them praise. Because I've learned through even listening to these evangelical speakers like Joel Osteen, like praise is so important. Praising your child, praising your relationship, praising the next person that's, sitting next to you, and even the person that you're selling over the phone to, finding something good to talk about, and like being their best friend, something like that.
Okay.
So, excuse me.
Compared to other salespeople in your company, do your clients get a better return on investment from the solutions you sell?
Well, in the job that I'm doing right now at Bed Bath & Beyond, we're not doing like a whole lot of sales. However, when they do call up and I said I need to find a rug that's a certain color or a certain size, I will go to the extra mile to find them that rug. And even if I have to reach out to Google and give them other resources at that point, because I will go the extra mile for them. And that's what we do at Bed Bath & Beyond. We go beyond for the client.
Okay, can you tell me about one of the clients recently that you felt really benefited from that?
Yeah, there was a time, I think it was recently over the phone, where this lady, she wanted me to match different sheets for her, and also to find an encasement for a mattress, because her elderly mother, she was taking care of her elderly mother after getting her out of a nursing home, and she wanted to find the best quality mattress, encasement, and all that, and also the sheets. So we spent maybe about 45 minutes to an hour finding what she needed, and she was very happy at the end of the call that I found the right product for her. And I just went through all the different styles and what would work best for her and her budget, all that. So it was really a positive experience for her. She felt really good about it because she just felt like she was overwhelmed doing it herself.
All right, so tell me about a sale you finally made that took a long time to develop. Kind of take it take me through it step by step.
Well, like most of my sales, like again, was at Blue Shield for senior health care. So we would do a lot of follow-up calls, but I can't remember if there was a sale that took forever, except one time when I was doing a temp job in a security system company, where it took about maybe 2 to 3 calls, and I finally got the deal. But most of the times when I have done sales, I've pretty much have gotten it. I haven't had to wait too long to get the sale. I've been pretty good at it. So I'm not that one kind of person that has to work too hard to get a sale. That's how I see myself.
Alrighty. So tell me about a short-term goal that you have, and do you feel you'll most likely achieve, and when do you think you will achieve it?
Well, the short-term goal that I have right now is getting the position we're talking about, because I feel that it entertains all the elements of what I've been working so hard for my whole life: the skills, the talent, the sales, the communication with the other person on the other side. It's just so much far better for my personality than just doing customer service all day, because my strengths really lie in sales. So that's my short-term goal, is to get this position and get in the job and prove, that I can do this and I am good at this, and I know I can, be good for the company, promote the product well for the customer and do the best I can, of course, but to really enjoy what I'm doing every day also. That's my goal.
Okay. So are you quick to form opinions?
I can be quick to form opinions, but I also have to take a step back and say, well, I'm being a little bit judgmental. Let me look at this a little bit differently. And so that's when I take a step back. So I am first to form an opinion. However, I do need to look at all avenues before I make my final judgment on the situation.
Okay. Are you addicted to a positive attitude?
Yes. I know that being positive is spending so much more energy on something magnificent than to not, spend good energy on something, because while you're spending energy that's not going anywhere, it's really wasted energy as far as I'm seeing it. So when you're doing something positive and putting energy into it that's really harmonious or going somewhere, it's just going to go even further. It's just going to expand even more and open more doors. Okay. So I'm really big about opening doors, expansion, all those energy fields.
Okay. Would you say you're more organized at work or at home?
I would say I'm more organized at work, because I have spent more time there to be organized, and at home it seems like I have to catch up, because I've got 2 dogs and 2 cats, and I've got to feed them and kind of keep up with them all the time like children. But at work, I spend like 8 hours every day there, so I honestly believe I'm more organized. Yeah.
Have you ever taken something small and made it big?
Yeah, I mean, when I've done telemarketing and cold calling for customers, for instance, whether it was in insurance or anything else, we would just start out in a small conversation, and the next thing I know, we're talking about Himalayan salt lamps, and the next thing I know, they're buying 2 or 3 or 4 more because they know my enthusiasm, how much I like them. And that happened at Bed Bath & Beyond recently, and I got a kudos call for it because he felt that I was so dynamic in the way that I handled it. So something so small of a call, just to ask one element of the item, and I said, I just love these lamps. And I went on how it benefited me, and he says, well, let me just order a few more of these. So it was just starting out very small, but it was because I had a connection with the item that made it, so much more popular. Yeah. And so it was that connection with the customer. I connect with the customer.
Okay. see. So you're riding on an airplane, hoping to get a little sleep. In the row in front of you, a baby has been crying for the last 10 minutes. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm just thinking, that's what they're doing, and there's nothing I can really do about it. That's what babies do. They cry or they get upset. I can't really do too much about it, and I don't think it's my voice to tell the mother next to me who already knows she's having an issue, because it has happened to me on planes, like, please, wipe down your child, but there's really not a whole lot I could do except just ignore it and maybe listen to my music on my phones, my earphones or whatever, and meditate or do something different than to not let it, cross my path and make such a big deal about it.
What are your sources of business news?
How do I find my, different sources? KSL, I do a lot of, I've been selling a few things on KSL, so I've been advertising golf clubs, Amwar, whatever. Business news, I sometimes go on the television set and listen to the money market, or I go on my cell phone and look at the latest news. I'm always looking at what's going on, and seeing what the great products are. How often do I do it? Anytime I'm on the cell phone, so I think it's like within a 24-hour period. It could be all day long, or just always keeping up on everything, And a lot of my friends say they don't like to listen to the news, but I also feel that it's important to listen to it. I mean, you can't get really caught up in all the negative and all that, but it's really good to know what's going on in the world as much as you can. I think it's really important, because if I didn't know about that earthquake, whether it was in New Zealand or whatever, or Japan, I wouldn't have known that I wanted to help those people or reach out to those people or send them blankets or whatever, had I not been paying attention. So that's been real, super important to me.
How do you feel when you're not in charge?
The times when I feel like I'm not in charge, kind of helpless, like I am a leader, and I do see things at work where I feel like I would like to be more in charge of the situation, but it's not my title. So it does kind of bother me sometimes that when I can't be in charge of something. I mean, I feel like I want to have a voice in it, that I can't just keep my mouth shut, that I have to take a step up and, tell someone how I feel. And I have done that before, and it has made all the difference. So sometimes we do have to do that.
Are you ever negative or upset with yourself?
Yes, I am kind of hard on myself quite a bit, and I don't like to be that way. Some people tell me you're much harder on yourself than you should be, but I think it's only to push myself in a better place. I mean, to do it in a very positive place, not to beat myself up constantly, but to really look at, like, well, what is this? Why isn't this working? Why are you burned out in this? Why do you want to do sales versus why do you want to do customer service? And I really looked at the whole picture. I just hate going back into a customer service job every time I go apply for a job. But those are the jobs that have kind of been open a lot here in Utah. But this position right now that we're talking about has all the elements where I can show my strengths even more than just doing customer service.
Okay. So what would you do to get yourself out of a bad mood or being upset with yourself?
I dance, or I play music, or I get walking. I think about something positive like the ocean. I used to live in California, so I always, would go to the ocean a lot. I'm a keyboard player. I love music, so I would probably, play the keyboard or my drum, my little drum, or my flute. That always gets me out of a situation where I feel kind of stuck. Or just, if I'm in the house, go out and drive somewhere and, change the channel, change the energy, or shift, whatever's going on.
Okay. So would you say you're a plan it, rehearse it kind of person, or are you more of a spontaneous take as it comes kind of person?
I have been honestly, some of my best moments have been done spontaneously. However, I have been in the other situation you're talking about where something's planned, and I have been in those directions, but I have had the best success being spontaneous, to be honest with you.
Okay.
It's when I wasn't looking, that's when everything happened in a positive fashion.
Okay. Do you usually control the conversation, or do you let the other person control the conversation?
I do both. I mean, I've been in situations where I feel like I am kind of controlling the conversation, and then I allow them to also take over. I kind of catch myself that maybe I'm over talking them with them over the phone, and I have to stop and let them talk. Because once I get on a subject, I get excited about it. But at the same time, I want them to have their say also. So I'm very aware of that situation.
Okay. So do you persuade people to do things that they did not intend to do?
Yeah, I have persuaded some of my clients, to have a reading or intuitive reading at times when they didn't think, that they would even have one. And then when they did have one, they saw the difference and they were a believer in what I do as my gift, and bring out the career in them or the relationship or where it was going. And so I do have a way of being persuasive with people about like a product, like a herbal product that I got recently for bronchitis. I told a few people about it and I got so excited about it and they went to the store and got the same product. So when I get excited about something, I do share it with other people and I am very persuasive. Not to the point where I'm pushing or throwing it down their throat, but at the same time showing them the benefits, how it's benefited me. I'm saying, this has benefited me. It may not benefit you, but this is what it's done for me. And it's, well, I want some of that too. So they'll go out and try it, and that's how I am very persuasive in that fashion.
Okay. How realistic is it these days to always do what you say you will do?
Honestly, it's really not, to me, that realistic because we were living in times that are very changing. It's always been very flexible. You have to really roll with the punches, and that's what I've learned in sales. You have to just go with the flow, and you can't always expect everything to turn out the way you thought it was going to turn out because that's not the way life works. There's always going to be changes. There's always going to be interruptions. But those people who have become successful, they didn't give up. They were persistent. Abraham Lincoln, Benjamin Franklin, they'll talk about it all the times and the times that they did not give up, and it's who they made them who they are today. And I think for where I'm coming from, it's made me who I am today with all the way that I've looked at life, and it didn't always turn out the way I thought it would turn out, but it also led me on a different path to Utah, where I learned more about myself, where I probably didn't investigate that much when I was in California. So it really did open doors for me here to look at myself even more deeply.
Okay. When you're trying to figure out the needs of a client or prospect, what do you ask about early on in the conversation?
Well, when I'm looking for the needs of a client, I'm looking at, like, for instance, if it was something that they were like a snowblower or whatever, what is your budget? And I would, do you have a budget for this? And then I would also look for the endurance, the duration of the product. How long are you going to be using it? Is this going to be short-term or long-term? Are you just temporarily borrowing it, or are you going to make this as an investment? Are you investing this for the next 5 or 6 years? So you really have to look at their investment. What is it going to do for them? What is it going to do for the future of their product or their company? How do they see their product, where it's going the next 5 or 10 years? A lot of those questions. But it really depends on the product, whether it's a color or a size. It just depends on what the situation is.
Okay. So is there anything else you'd like to tell us that will help us get to know you better?
Well, I think you pretty much can tell what kind of person I am. I'm very innovative. I'm very open. I'm not one of these closed people. I like to listen to everything and then I make my decision, and I'm not one of these super judgmental people. Well, no, I'm not going to do that today. Or no, I'm never going to do that. I'm not that kind of person. I really like to fill out the situation and just go with the flow if I can. But I also want to establish boundaries at the same time. So I guess the more that you would like to know about me is that I'm musically inclined. You know, I love being with people, and I love coming to my job every day, bringing positive energy to the company and to what I'm doing, and having it like skyrocket with everybody else in the office, like a domino effect. And I think that's what really makes a company work, is when people are happy at their job. Because it's going to radiate out to the customer, it's going to radiate out to what you're selling. If you're not happy in your company, or people are not happy in the company, it's going to show over the phone. It's going to show everywhere. So it has to start within yourself, and it also has to start with what you're thinking inside yourself, and then how you're sharing it with someone else. It's really where it's going to come from.
Well, we are at the end of our questions, and I know we've both enjoyed getting to know you a little bit better and hearing your responses, and helps us understand your natural talents. All of this really helps us be able to fit the open positions that we have with your strengths. We're doing this right now with a lot of people, so if we don't get back to you right away for a next step, don't be too concerned, but reach out to myself or to Tara, and feel free to, ask us where we're at along the way or whatever, but we definitely will get back in touch with you. We just really appreciate you spending the time with us today.
Oh, I thank you for all the questions. They were really great questions, I have to say. They really made me really look at all avenues of this position, and how you are with asking the questions. They're excellent questions, I mean, I've had all kinds of interviews in my life, but these were really well done. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Really pair up the talents with what we have, and so it's a good tool for us to use.
Yeah, I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with the questions.
Well, thank you, Jessica.
And if this position did come about, when would it start? I mean, would it be a month or two, or?
We would like to have had somebody start last week, so we're motivated to find the right person. So
okay, because Tara said like a month, and I wasn't sure. Okay.
No. It probably through the processes we go through, by the time we get everything done to the next step, and then sit down and review all of everything we've got, and then by the time you gave notice and work to be able to, it probably would be about that time frame. But it is something we're needing to fill, but we need to fill it as quickly as we can, but we're not just going to rush through it either.
Oh, no, I understand. You really want the best candidate, and I feel that I am a good candidate, but I also feel like it does match a lot of my strengths and skills that I've been looking for since I've been in Utah, just to let you know.
I appreciate it again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a good day now. Appreciate it.
You too. Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.